Hello, happy Friday. Welcome to the end of the week, in the middle of the holidays. We have New Year just around the corner. A new year. I remember last New Year. I had all these. Last New Year, my prediction for 2024 was by the end of the year, AI would have revolutionized everything to the point where we wouldn't even recognize the beginning of 2024. And that really did not happen. Things look more or less the same as they did at the beginning. I thought we were going to have AI guests and panelists. Like, I could do a whole stream, a whole panel with just AI humans and have all kind of interesting conversations. I'm still stuck with all of you mortals. All right, let's see what including myself. I'm very busy. I'm eating. I'm in the middle of lunch. It's a very busy morning, so I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. Let me check the news. The MAGA civil war between Elon Musk and the far right over H-1B visas. That seems like a manufactured crisis, like a social media crisis. I doubt people that are not online all day long even care about that. South Korea's acting president got impeached. What happens next? Does he have to step down? Well, I don't want to curse it, but so far I don't see a story of random, senseless vigilante violence yet. So maybe we get one day off during the holidays. Jesus is back. Maybe that's the difference. It's already having an effect. And you know what, another thing I've been noticing lately? Trump won the election and he's virtually been invisible since. Like, he's completely disappeared from the spotlight. And that's really not like him. He's or at least in the media, you hear nothing about Trump. I don't see anything about him on social media. I don't see him on the news. I have no, like, he's not building up to when he takes power. He just disappeared, vanished. Okay, let's see what tweets I have. Oh, speaking of the H-1B visa crisis, this guy says, and I haven't fact checked it, but he's usually reliable. There are 65,000 H-1B slots available per year for foreign workers and another 20K for people with advanced degrees from U.S. universities. So I guess that's like immigrants that come over, go to our universities, and then they can get a job here after that. That's not a lot. Biden has been letting twice that many unvetted migrants cross the border each week. So it puts the H-1B crisis into perspective. Like I said, to me, it's not a crisis. I'm not in tech anyway. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care who's keeping Google running, who's keeping the YouTube going. I don't see them. I don't interact with them. The only thing I have to worry about is the censorship end of it. Keeping them happy so they don't strike my channel. I looked at that thing. Oh yeah, I looked at that Jordan Peterson passage yesterday on status, and I still didn't understand it or get a good explanation of it. How our brain, there's an ancient part of our brain that observes and assesses status and then assigns us some kind of subjective sense of status. And then based on that, something happens. I don't know. I didn't understand it. Oh yeah, we get under stress, like physically and psychologically stressed. We become more reactive and hyper responses. and they burn up a lot of energy. And I can't relate it to my experience at all because being a Sigma, I experience myself as high status and low status at the same time. Like I don't really have a stable sense of status at all. There's some areas where I'm subjectively higher and there's some where I'm subjectively lower, and it's constantly fluctuating, like from moment to moment to moment. And I have an enormous amount of energy that doesn't seem to get burned up by that at all. So if my brain is assigning me a low status and keeping me under a lot of stress to where I'm burning up my energy, I don't see the effects of that in my own life at all. So if anyone has thoughts on Jordan Peterson and the status, the lobster status, oops, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to do this. Open panel. Come on up. It's Friday. Let's get some kind of party going. I just show up to open the stream. It's really for you guys to use. I feel like I've exhausted every topic I have to talk about. Although I do want to, I'm going to start that storytelling project soon. I thought about doing it today, but it was too busy. Well, if no one's going to come up, I think what I'm going to do is finish that P.F. Jung video from yesterday. On memes and archetypes. As soon as I get past the ads. He was talking about mimetic fitness, right, and he pulled up this curve. So I guess let's take a look at that.
This absolutely epic normal distribution called the archetypal mean curve shows us. Here's how to understand it. On the y-axis, you have mimetic fitness. Mimetic fitness has two components: accessibility, which is how easily a human can interact with the meme, and durability, which is how deep the meme is able to embed itself within the human psyche. Some examples here may be helpful. A viral meme that everyone comes into contact with.
Like, I'll tell you right now, the accessibility for most of these modern memes to me is very, very low. I don't understand most of them. So I would say even if they have high durability, for me as an individual, my accessibility to that durability is
but loses relevancy weeks or months later, may be very accessible but not very durable. These are known as cultural fads.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you could have a meme that has very limited accessibility but very high durability. An example of this would be a long-running inside joke amongst a small group of friends.
I love inside jokes. Love to be a part of one someday.
Is logic a meme?
A critical thing to understand about mimetic fitness is that it is not an objective nor subjective measurement, but rather a transjective affordance. A transjective affordance is a real property of a subject that emerges from the relationship between that subject and another object or set of objects.
Meaning is like the graspability. Remember I talked about optimal grip? It's like the graspability of that cup. Is that in me?
I don't know why this guy gets on my nerves.
Is it
I know
in
a lot
the
of
cup?
people like
no,
him.
because
John
the fly
Vervaeke.
can't grasp it. Well, graspability is in my hand. Well, I can't grasp Africa. No. There is a real relation, fittedness, between me and this cup. It is a proper relationship. I've coined the phrase transjective. It is the binding relationship between the subjective and the objective.
I don't necessarily
The
disagree with it.
usefulness
I think
of a
it's just his
key is not a
presentation style.
property of the key itself, but a transjective interaction between the key and a given lock. The infectiousness of a virus is not a property of the virus itself, but a transjective interaction between the shape of the spike protein and the receptors it binds to. Your favorite book might have a high degree of mimetic fitness for you and millions of others, but for someone who can't read English, that exact same book would have zero accessibility, and thus very little mimetic fitness. I know this slide is probably overly complex, so if you don't get
No,
it,
I was
don't
thinking
worry.
how it was
If you do get it, congrats.
very
You are
simple.
probably as autistic as I am. Now that you understand the basic components of mimetic fitness, let's look at the next part of the archetypal meme curve. On the x-axis, you have the degree of archetypal influence, or archetypicality. The archetypicality of a given meme refers to the degree to which that meme draws upon the psychological potency of the archetypes. A meme with very high archetypicality would be abstract and one-dimensional. These might be symbols like a heart used to represent love, a skull to represent death, or any image of a generic, unspecified king, queen, or monster. A meme with very low
I don't know, can you
archetypicality
tell the
would be
kings and the queens
unintelligible,
apart anymore?
boring, or irrelevant, like this image of a random sidewalk.
that
It's
mimetic
technically a
fitness may
meme,
be
but it possesses no psychological
becoming
force in and of itself.
blurred.
The critical thing to know is that a meme can only achieve a high level of mimetic fitness when it strikes the proper balance between high archetypicality and personal relevance.
One
Right.
time a
Okay.
student
Hang
asked
on.
me-
Oh God, not him again. Personal relevance. Now you've moved to the level of the individual. So it's going to vary from person to person to person. There are billions of us in the world, and we're gonna have. We're not the same from moment to moment to moment either. So depending on what point in our history you examine us, could affect how receptive we are to any particular means. So there's so much variability. I'm already skeptical of this large-scale narrative about how these things work.
well, if there are these archetypes, why don't we just tell the archetype over and over? Why do we need fiction, for example, which is like a bridge? If there's individuals here and the archetype is up here, at a high level of abstraction, fiction sort of fills the gap between them. And so what you want is a story that's archetypal, so that you
Jordan, hang on. Fiction doesn't fill the gap. Fiction is that level. It's not like there's an abstract something called an archetype that fiction then embodies as a medium between that and the individual. The fiction, the creation itself is the source of the archetype. That is where you find the archetype. It's located in the work of fiction. It's a structural component of the fiction itself. The fiction is not a carrier for something transcendent to it called an archetype.
understand its basic structure, but you want enough variation and specificity so that it's new and interesting and also applicable to you. So you have to humanize the archetype to some degree, otherwise it's so abstract.
All that means is you
can't
just
relate
make
to
good
it.
art. That
And good
like
stories.
universal art that resonates with a large number of people on a deep level that a lot of people can relate to. This is just a fancy pseudoscientific way of talking about art.
Really do that. They bridge the gap, and some of them are more personal and less archetypal. But if they're completely non-archetypal, there's nothing about them that captures you. It doesn't have any force. And then if it's too archetypal, well, it gets to be too abstract and you can't relate to it. So good.
Is he making the claim that every single thing that captures you is an archetype? An archetype is just a recurring image. There's plenty of elements of art that can capture you that are not archetypes.
Fiction writers and good purveyors of dramatic entertainment, we think about it as entertainment, are really good at occupying that middle position.
Let's put this tool into practice
Again,
with some
because they
examples.
make good art.
A meme complex like Lord of the Rings is very archetypal. Not only do the characters experience deeply archetypal trials, tribulations, and victories, but the overarching story is also
I don't know
literally
what
a
that
battle
means.
between good
What's an
and evil.
archetypal?
On the
What
opposite
makes
end of the
one
spectrum,
victory
you might have a movie like Marriage Story,
or
which is
triumph
a very
archetypal?
realistic and grounded depiction of the complexity of romantic relationships. And in between these, you might have a meme complex like The Dark Knight. Technically, there are no magical or otherworldly elements in this movie, but the Joker
seen
is,
that
for all intents and purposes, a god who experiences no attachment to worldly desires and is immune to physical pain or fear of death. Of course, he's
Okay,
still
that's myth.
mundane
That's
enough to
at
get
the mythic
annoyed at a
level.
mild dig.
You're crazy. I'm not. No, I'm not.
You can begin to see how any work of fiction or meme can be plotted somewhere on this chart. Game of Thrones deals with much grayer lines
seen that
between
one
good and
either.
evil than Lord of the Rings, although still has its pure archetypal elements. Arthur Fleck's Joker definitely pushes the boundaries of
Haven't
realism,
seen that one.
but his character development and everyday
The only one
struggles
of these
are
I've
much
even
more
seen is
mundane
Lord of
and
the Rings,
relatable.
and I
One
preferred the
important
book.
thing to note is that while the y-axis
And the
says
Hobbit
mimetic
cartoon.
fitness, the archetypicality of a meme really only affects the durability component of mimetic fitness. The accessibility of a meme has more to do with the medium the meme operates in, and a number of other factors that we'll have to explore later. Also, I know it looks like the curve implies that the Joker has a higher level of mimetic fitness than Lord of the Rings, and for some people it might, but I'm treating every meme on the blue line as being the same category of mimetically fit, and I could just as easily use a flat blue line if it didn't look so stupid.
Okay, hang on. Let's back up to this. What's he archetypicality? What he's calling archetypicality. Fiction can move like early fiction was mythic, about gods and heroes, and then it gradually became more human, like knights and dragons and stuff, and then normal tales about humans, and then eventually tales about ordinary working class humans, etc. So it's moving from the mythic to the realistic as far as modes of fiction. So he's associating archetypicality with mythic, but even the realistic fictions, they have a mythic layer to them, and of course the mythic layer has some realism to it as well. It's like it's more stylized, but there's still realistic elements to it. So it's varying degrees of myth and realism is how I would read this chart. Not necessarily more archetypal and less archetypal. Because what he's calling the archetypes are still found in forms of fiction on this side of the curve. They're just less mythically stylized and more realistically presented.
In the same category of mimetically fit, and I could just as easily use a flat blue line if it didn't look so stupid. Now, aside from plotting fictional movies, the archetypal meme curve can be used in a much more focused manner by analyzing and isolating one archetype at a time. For example, a very common archetype is that of the shadow. Every human being has a dark side they must learn to integrate into their conscious awareness in order to develop their own confidence and autonomy.
That's a
An
figurative way
abstract
of speaking.
image of a generic shadow would contain this idea, although the image alone would not be very impactful. If you keep the same image but add a relatable twist to it, it suddenly becomes a much more mimetically fit meme as you connect it to many people's childhood. Or you can create an entire television series like Breaking Bad, which achieves its psychological potency by centering the whole show on this very archetype. You can plot out the mimetic fitness of a meme using any of the fundamental archetypes, and this becomes especially important when it comes to evaluating political meme complexes.
Political stories derive their power from the underlying archetypal representations. Obviously, because they have to be concerned with the things that people find important, right? How can you sell a political message to someone if it isn't about something they find important? And if it's important to them, it's going to be grounded at least to some degree in their biological in their biological substructure. I mean, if you're talking to hungry people about food, it's a story that you can tell, right? Because it hooks them deeply. It hooks deep into their motivational systems. To use a narrative of utopia, which is the land of milk and honey, roughly speaking, a very, very old idea, you're also tapping deeply into intrinsic human longings. And so the idea that political narratives incorporate archetypal themes is,
I hate that ugly blue dwarf.
not really, it's not an idea that I would consider particularly controversial. Putting it that way might be.
If you want to advance a particular political ideology, you have to be able to identify which archetypes you can draw upon to imbue your political message with psychological
Again,
potency.
just make
There are
good art.
dozens of diagrams in Jordan Peterson's maps. of
Anybody
meaning,
that
but I believe
is
this is
proficient
the
at the
single
art
most
of
important
fiction
one.
already
While
knows this.
imperfect and incomplete, it illustrates what I think
Tell a
is the
good
best
story.
way to isolate and identify the archetypes that give memes their power. Each circle is one of the three.
Which is one of my criticisms of the woke. I just don't think their stories are very good. They're full of contradictions. They don't resonate with the experience of most people. I think they tell poor stories. Their narratives are not very well wrought.
Fundamental archetypal categories that the human psyche has adapted to: nature, culture, and the individual, each having both a positive and negative aspect. Just as every instance of physical reality can be broken down into three fundamental particles called protons, neutrons, and electrons, we can say that every instance of phenomenological reality, which is the reality that human beings experience, is made up of the intersection of the natural world, the social world, and the inner world. This trichotomy maps very well onto
That's the
Freud's
first,
concepts
second, and third
of the
factor
ego,
from
id,
Dabrowski.
and superego.
That-
The
no, that's
outside
not
circle
correct.
is nature. This is the archetype that is most active in meme complexes like Planet Earth or the Avatar movies. Its positive aspect is the archetype that dominates the psyche of environmentalists and people whose primary concern is the preservation of the planet.
Are you more concerned about the
Not
protection
this,
of
this
the
makes me
painting
hate these
or
people
the
more. It does not make me
protection of our
sympathetic to their.
planet
They
and
suck
people?
at advocacy.
The second inner circle is culture. The positive aspect of culture is represented as the wise king or the good father. Its most abstract form takes the shape of God the Father, but the same archetype is active when we interact with memes like Gandalf, Uncle Phil, Mustafa, or any historically mythologized father figure like Martin Luther King or George Washington.
God the Father, maybe,
Nationalist
but certainly
political
not
ideologies
Yahweh.
like MAGA draw their archetypal force from the idea of America as a once great nation in need of revival. Peterson would describe this as rescuing the father from the belly of the whale. Of course, if you're an ultra-progressive, the exact same meme would constellate the archetype of the negative aspect of culture, which is representative of corruption and oppression. Figures like Scar, Denethor, or the Emperor Palpatine embody this archetype, as well as historically mythologized tyrants like Joseph Stalin or a certain German dictator. Lastly, you have the individual as hero or adversary, which at this point I suspect is fairly self-explanatory. What all of this points to is a way of viewing ideas and ideologies that allows us to better manipulate them and understand their danger. No ideology or belief system can be complete if it focuses on some archetypes at the exclusion of others.
The problem with political narratives, in my
Hey,
estimation, is that
these are the
they
stories
can
we're talking about, like
wrap-
the myths. When I do my thing, I'm going to be talking about these kind of stories and myths. And yes, they're partial.
rapidly transform themselves
But
into
what story
ideologies,
isn't?
and ideologies are dangerous for a variety of reasons. But the
You
primary
need like a big encyclopedic work, like the Bible, or the Greek myths, or something like that. That because and that's one of the point that Fry is going to make is as myths develop, they begin to encompass more and more areas of life, and eventually they become encyclopedic enough to cover everything that concerns a particular group or society, and that's why he calls them myths of concern. So, but a myth of concern is never complete, although it attempts to be. Ultimately, it attempts to be. But they start out with these partial stories that kind of get woven and aggregated together. So the fact that a story is only telling part of your little diagram doesn't necessarily invalidate it or even
primary
weaken it
reason
as
for
a
their
story.
danger, I think, this is a hypothesis, is because of their one-sided nature. What happens is that they capitalize, parasitize, I think is even a better way of thinking
It's
about
so
it.
dramatic. Too.
A profound underlying narrative, but they don't tell the entire story. I can give you a quick example of that. I'll do it very quickly.
Right, what
when the
story
American
does?
West was
Every
settled, it was
story
settled
selects.
on the wave of an ideological story. And here's the story. Heroic individual, that's positive, bringing positive culture, that's the wise king, into virgin or into chaotic territory. That's the negative mother, essentially. So that's positive individual, positive culture, negative nature. Right, and that's a motivating story, man, to heroically bring order into the untamed wilderness. It's like 1 million people a year from Europe come driven by that narrative. Yep. It's okay, well, here's the counter narrative. Raping and pillaging individual, bringing the desolations of tyrannical culture into the virginal, wonderful, environmental, what would you call it?
Utopia?
Yes, of nature.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, man, you can get a long way with that story too.
Yeah.
But they're both half the story. So you just put those two things together and you have a religious story. It's like, well, the individual is heroic, but also is an adversary, and a cruel adversary at that. Culture is the wise king, but it's also the evil tyrant. And nature is beautiful and wonderful French impressionistic
Right, a
landscape.
good
and
story is
cancer,
going to
and
sustain
Anopheles mosquitoes, and
multiple
elephantiasis.
interpretations.
And so if you are properly oriented in the world, you tell yourself both those stories, and you say, oh my God, they conflict. It's like, yeah, they do, man. That's
No,
exactly
you're telling
right.
you tell yourself a larger story of which those two stories are aspects of.
So an ideology just pulls out a subset of the religious characters and says, this is the entire reality. It's like, no, it's not. It's a parasitical
I think
meme.
it's trying to
essentially.
emphasize
An ideology is a parasitical
certain
meme on a
aspects of
religious substructure.
Memes
human
derive
and
their
social
power from
reality.
the archetypes. But if you only tell half the story, then you might be able to
I
energize
think
a large
they're
number of
both assuming that every single story tries to be comprehensive, and that's not necessarily the goal of every single story, even most stories. Like, who wants to sit through a story every single time about everything all at once? When you ask your parents to tell you a story to get you to bed at night, they don't have to tell you the story of the whole universe all at once. They can select a story that has partial elements of reality, and it still has value and meaning as a story. It still has archetypal use. So this demand that stories always be comprehensive and complete, to me, is unrealistic to anybody that works with stories, either writes or reads or consumes stories,
people, but your
movies.
movement will eventually go off the rails as it becomes psychologically unbalanced. This is why you must adopt the enlightened centrist perspective, so that when you're interacting with memes, you can ask yourself which
with
archetype
him
is
here.
this meme drawing its power from, and which archetypes are being excluded. This is the power of archetypal memetics, and I fully intend to
This is like
develop my
basic
pseudo-academic credentials by
literary
advancing this theory
criticism, at least
further,
of the
tying it together
archetypal
with
variety.
concepts like the meme adoption curve,
Which,
or refining concepts like
Fry,
exactly
I
what
would
memetic
say, is
fitness
one of the
is, because
foremost
originally it was
founders
transmissibility and
of.
durability, and then I switch it to accessibility and durability. It's a work
You
in
don't need all
progress.
this.
And in
Ignore
order
the
to do this,
math.
I actually need to write more. So in 2025, if you're interested, I will be writing more on Substack. And I will likely put the first iteration of future video scripts as well as other things over there. Under no circumstances whatsoever will it be monetized, so all you have to do is put your email address in and you'll get all my writings. And
There you
so,
go. Subscribe.
until next year, good luck and Godspeed.
And Fry was actually a professor at University of Toronto, a generation before Peterson. Oh, let's see, comments. Yeah, thank you, Ninja. Yes, you can support me with Ko-Fi. Those of you that feel moved to. Oh, are you back? Plasma. Are you back home? You're like one of my greatest super fans. Come to add color technology. The noosphere. Ooh. I don't know who this Stockopolis person is, but I'm interested. Noos is the mental realm in Greek thought. Let's see. I'm gonna subscribe to you. I don't know who you are. The Joker archetyped. The thing I know about the Lakota is I was part of the Mankind Project for a while. It's an international men's organization, and they do the New Warrior training. And the Lakota have been harassing them for years about some of their practices, like sweat lodges and some of the animal symbolism. Like, we used to have animal names, and they're saying all of that's cultural appropriation, and that it's a bunch of white men getting together, appropriating Lakota culture and profiting from it, and that it's offensive and disrespectful. So the Lakota are trying to pull some woke bullshit on men's groups, and I don't have much respect for them lately. So when I hear Lakota, that's what get associated. Oh, egregore. Yeah, we used to talk about that on this stream. Hey, Mike. But I'm still not really clear on what an egregore is. It seems like an abstraction as well. You know me. It's easy for me to do with really concrete things that I can see and touch. So when people start talking about all this abstract stuff as if it has a reality, I'm a nominalist. Occam's razor. I kind of take it as they're fumbling about metaphorically, but I don't really take them seriously as they're talking about an actual thing. Yeah, they got accused of they wrote him a bunch of ugly letters. There was this. It's all on the website somewhere. They have all the correspondence between the Lakota and this men's group. And and so when I did my new warrior training a few years ago, it was the new version that they changed. Like there was no sweat lodge. They changed a bunch of stuff, and I wanted the old version before they wokeified it. And it kind of split the mankind community just like it split so many other communities. And there were some people that fell for the woke bullshit, and there were some people that are like, we're not doing anything wrong, and we want to keep doing what we're doing. These are our community rituals that we developed, and the Lakota don't own culture. They don't own sweat lodges. They don't own animal names, and this is just a power play. And so there was a big divide. There may still be. I haven't been involved with them for a while. Again, narratives and stories. Like the Lakota were trying to tell a very specific narrative about a group they weren't even part of, and trying to make all kind of moral claims about the members of the group. I mean, I don't go to Lakota people and like observe and analyze their ceremonies and start finding all the things I don't like about it. I leave them in peace to do it the way they want to do it, and I think Mankind Project should be left in peace by them to do it the way that we want to do it. All right, so that's the speaker has stop. Oh, that's P.F. Jung. That's my panel daddy. That's where I got my start, and that's where a lot of us from here met each other. Like Joe comes from that community, and a couple of other people. Some of the people in the Discord. So, it's kind of his channel and his community was kind of the roots of this channel and this community. So we don't agree on everything, but I think that's healthy in an enlightened centrist community. But I do have a great respect for him. Hey, Bredicus, what is that? A croissant? Or a fortune cookie? Well, it's still the holidays. It's been very slow the last week or so. And I don't know if we'll get a panel today or not. But if we don't, this will be a short stream. And then I assume Joe and I are going to be out tomorrow for our Saturday show. And then I'll probably take Sunday off again. I think I may start making that a regular thing. I'm overworking this channel. That's a bad habit I have. If I'm left to my own, I will pour an enormous amount of sweat and effort into something, even if there's not a lot of payoff from it. And I know that's kind of a capitalist paradigm, because if you do it for the love of the thing, which is why I do it, it really doesn't matter what kind of return you get on it, because the activity itself is the return. But because I have other goals for the channel beyond just gratifying my own passions, it's something I have to watch, or I'm going to just burn out through overworking it. I really don't have much to talk about today. It's been a slow... We're coming into the end of the year. We're kind of winding down the year. Jesus is back. The light is starting to increase. The days are getting longer. Oh, we have a panel guest. One of our revered and respected elders. Let's say hello to Mr. Joe Cool. Happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa. What do you celebrate?
Just call me an elder.
You are, well, you think you're not? I'm even an elder. Why are you laughing?
That's not funny.
What do you
I've never been called an elder. You might be right. I've just never been called an elder.
That's a term of this men's group I was talking about that I was part of. I found out that I'm considered an elder in that group. Like 50, if you're over 50, you're considered an elder, and I had to like.
And it's a respected. Yeah, it's a respectable term, though. I should get used to it and shit.
supposedly. Yeah.
Here, I'm just jumping around. I'm trying to think of a term. I was on a phone call and I can't think of it. There's some type of emergency that when it is declared, you lose your constitution. Some of this might be conspiratorial
Like
shit you ain't heard
martial
about.
law?
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
That was it. All right. Thank you. That was it. I'm finna go. Thanks, bro.
Okay. Well, if they declare it, you can always cop watch them. Oh, look at that. That's a good picture. Yeah, you will be. I was surprised because, well, I guess he's he's trying to go, so I'll, I don't know. I think I'll kind of leave him there. That's a good look. Um, when I showed up as an initiate, I was new to the group and I was going through the training to like learn from them and become like grow and learn from other men as part of the community. And I found out that no, I'm actually an elder myself and I have a lot to teach as well as learn. And they have a whole separate like sub community in the organization just for elders. And it was like a psychological reorientation. For the first time in my life, I had to orient to the fact that I have this status called elderhood, and it means something specific in this community related to wisdom and teaching and mentoring, and I wasn't prepared for that role at all. I mean, I've taught in the classroom a bit, but I'm usually the one learning and trying to grow and develop because I'm the one that I feel like I lag behind and I need the wisdom of other people. And so to be thrown into the role where I am also that person that can provide wisdom and teach and help others grow and learn, I wasn't prepared for that. And part of my mission while I was in the Mankind Project was trying to figure out exactly what my elder path was and what elderhood meant to me because I think for neurodivergent people, it's not going to take the traditional form. So it was figuring out what neurodivergent elderhood meant, and um, I didn't leave the group. I'm still in it. There's just not a lot of local activity, and so I just moved on to other things. But I guess I still consider myself affiliated with. Well, one of the ways I try to meet the obligation in some small way is keeping the channel going. Like having this be a space where people can come and learn and gain wisdom, if not from me, just from other people that show up, whether they're physical elders or not. Because I think the people that come up on panel here do have a lot of collective wisdom to offer. And I even learn a lot from being here. So in a way, I'm creating a space for learning and mentorship to happen, even if I'm not the one always delivering it myself. So that's one way that one thing I do know about elderhood that I did learn in my short time as an elder is it's more about like by the time you reach elderhood, you're expected to have some kind of individual development. So it's less about your own personal growth, and it's kind of like a shift of emphasis on what can you contribute to the community? What can you give back? How can you help to sustain the current community for the younger generations that are coming up through it, that do need more of the personal growth so they can develop. And so the elder role to me is the one that helps to give back and sustain and stabilize the community so that the younger people can get more of the individual benefit from the community. And so that's why I like community building. I like activities that bring people together. I like creating that social infrastructure that people can come and make use of however they need in the moment. And so in a way, my community building kind of overlaps with my elderhood. And I'm still trying to get an in-person community going here. I'm making small little baby steps. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like I found a board gaming group, and they were supposed to meet tonight actually, and it's on their website. But then I found out no, they stopped meeting locally. They meet somewhere else now, like in another city for like that I don't have easy access to. But they just didn't take it off of their website. So I got excited. Oh, some in-person people, and then no, not quite. And then there's a few people that have kind of tentatively talked about making plans. That's what they do here. Like in the South, or at least in Louisiana and in Las Vegas, if somebody says, "Hey, why don't we do this one thing?" then people are immediately making plans and starting the steps on doing that one thing. And here, it's thrown out more as an idea, but people don't actually like the thing they're talking about may never manifest. So if back home you say, "Hey, why don't we go camping this weekend?" or "Why don't we have a house party?" or "Why don't we play board games?" It would be very weird for that not to happen. Like nobody would throw out a plan if they didn't intend for it to happen. And so when I hear suggestions of plans, and in Vegas it was the same way. I'm in Vegas and Louisiana mode where I think, oh, good, this person wants to do something. That's why they're suggesting let's go do this thing. But here, there's a different meaning to something like that. It's used in a different way. So people throw out plans not because they actually intend to do the thing. There's some social purpose to it. I haven't figured it out in 15 years. And another thing people here will do is they will commit to multiple plans and then pick which one they're going to do on that day. So even if somebody commits to a board game night, that doesn't mean by the time the night comes around, they're actually going to choose that as what they're doing that night. And that's weird to me too. But it's completely normal here. This is a very flaky town. So the ability to flake out on people is built into the culture here. And nobody minds if somebody can't. In fact, people kind of expect plans to get canceled. That's why one thing that they're real big on here is confirmations. So they're always checking in. Hey, I'm just confirming for Monday. Are we doing this thing? Hey, I'm just checking in and seeing if we're still on. And that's weird to me. I've never had to confirm plans before in my life. If I make a plan with somebody, I just show up at the time we plan and then we do the thing. We don't have to constantly neurotically confirm that, hey, is this plan still happening? And here they do because people shift plans around all the time. It's normal here. Oh, you mean those little Mormon boys that come to the house on the bicycle are called elders? Wow. They used to come in. They used to stop by in Vegas, and that's back when I smoked. And they would show up and knock on the door and say, "Hey, can we talk to you?" And I smoked outside on the porch. I had my little ashtray outside, and I said, "Yeah, sure. Let me grab a cigarette." And then I would come out and I'd light the cigarette up and I'd say, "We can talk, but I'll tell you right now, I'm atheist and I drink and I smoke. If that's not going to be a problem, we could talk." And usually they would say, "Oh, no, that's okay. We don't really have anything to say to you." And so just the fact that I lit up a cigarette and smoked a cigarette while they tried to talk to me was usually enough to keep them from coming back or to keep them from staying too long. But the ones that really got on my nerve the most, and it was mostly in the cities. They didn't really have them where I grew up, but if you went to a city and like you went out on Friday night with your friends and you partied at the bar and then you came home and you crashed on the floor, the couch, 6 a.m. Saturday morning, knock, 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 knock. The Jehovah's Witness were at that door, and they were handing out their little tracts, like their little comic books about the lion will lay down with the lamb, and they had all these little happy children playing with the lion and playing with the sheep, and everybody was happy. At 6 or 7 in the morning, when you were just starting your hangover, that was the worst possible timing. And every time I've had a Jehovah's knock on the door, it's been on a Saturday morning after a night of partying. So those are the ones that really are bad at marketing their religion. And they would try to hand you their little books. That's not anything that I wanted to look at. at that time. And so we would take them and we would laugh at them. We'd make fun of them. They were hilarious to us. These little comics that they were trying to show us on a Saturday morning. It might have been it may have been. I don't know. I didn't. I don't pay much attention to, because Catholics. We have missionaries. Like you can be a Catholic missionary overseas and go to other countries and try to convert people. But we don't have Catholics that like go out into the community and try to convert. If you're interested in Catholicism, you just come to our church or you go talk to a priest or something. But we don't like go bother people and try to convert them. The Baptists really didn't either. It just seemed to be the Mormons and the Jehovah's and the Amway people. My stepfather he worked with some coworkers that were in Amway, and they talked him into having an Amway party at our house one day, and he brought them over and all of their friends. They were just weird. There was just something about it that seemed talking about vibes. I just had a weird vibe. There was something that just didn't add up about these Amway people. Oh, you let them in your house? And I'm told that they do chores for you. They can do chores and help out around the house. I didn't know that part. I don't mind arguing religion, but I've done it for so long, mostly with Christians growing up, that there's not really anything new in the arguments for me. I'm starting to feel the same way about the free will arguments. Oh, hey, Bex. What's up with you? I'm just hanging out on a Friday. I'll probably wrap up soon. Oh, I was going to watch that Waking Life movie. I totally forgot. I might go do that in the Discord today. In fact, let me put a note. Because I was thinking about that dream and waking consciousness stuff. And how when we're dreaming, we're not really using agency or making choices. We're just like riding out an experience that our brain is producing for us. Also, now that I think about it, things like psychedelics, I can't really, it was very spontaneous and I was kind of just along for the ride. I couldn't really will a psychedelic experience to be any certain thing. Okay, let's see. If interested. All right, there we go. Oh, Lord, they don't really have a lot of... They used to have way more waking life gifts than they do now. Oh, well, I'll leave it alone. Super lazy. Yeah. I guess I am too, but only because everyone else is. That's okay. I think there's I think laziness can be a strength if it's used wisely. I'm a slacker. Our whole ethos is how to get things done while being lazy. try not to overwork anything. In fact, I think I'm gonna wrap the stream up soon. Well, if no one else has any comments or yeah, that's one of that's a Gen X thing. We invented that. In fact, Waking Life was done by the same guy that made the Slacker movie, Richard Linklater. It's kind of like a continuation of Slacker, but animated. Moose. I'm a yes, I am that. I'm also a master waiter. I'm really good at waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, like Samuel Beckett. Wow. Are you? What's up with you, Moose? Are you working today, or did you work? Oh, is Talcott on? I don't. No, I'm just ending it because there's no panel. Nobody showed up. I think it's the holidays. Yep, Talcott sure is on. Well, everyone could go to Talcott's if they want. He'll be doing a panel. Waiting like Hachi. uh, you're here to relax. Yeah, I watched Scanner Darkly. I might, Steve. I might do one tonight. It depends on how the day goes. You want to? I don't know. Let me sit on it a little bit. Bex, I watched Scanner Darkly like a year or so ago, and I wasn't as impressed with it as I was the first time. The acting, and they have some really good stars in it, but I found the acting kind of underwhelming. Um, Writing, I mean, the animation was cool, that rotoscoping, but it didn't have the same impact on me as when I first saw it. But if you haven't seen Scanner Darkly, it's worth at least one watch, I guess. And so Waking Life is the same dude, Richard Linklater, and it's in the same style of that rotoscoping where they film it in real life and then they animate over it. And Waking Life uses multiple different animators, so each scene is done in like a different artistic style depending on who's animating it. And it's all about philosophy. It's just they just talk philosophy through the whole movie and animate philosophy. Scanner Darkly. It's based on that Philip K. Dick novel about this drug. What's the drug called? I forgot. Drug D or drug B, and they have those what do you call those suits where it hides your identity? It's a suit that you wear, and it's Keanu Reeves, Woody Harrelson, Winona Ryder. What's that guy? Rory Cochrane, is that his name? Um, and you can put on this suit, and then it keeps shifting your identity. So every time somebody looks at you, it changes your gender and your race, and so you never knew who's actually in the suit. And it's kind of government conspiracy thing. Oh, is that the Kids in the Hall? The Kids in the Hall one? I think I saw that when it first came out. Yeah. We sh- and Strangers with Candy is another one I liked. Well, I'm inspired. I think I'm more inspired to watch movies than to go on a panel. But here I can send you to Talcott's. You'll at least get some kind of entertainment, if not enrichment. Let today be special. I have to say I do like his monologues. He does an opening monologue for every stream. And speaking of elders and wisdom, I think he has some. I love his hoodie. Oh wow, Jack, you really if you'd get if you'd get rid of that ponytail and groom that beard just a little bit with that hoodie. If God is I am, what am I? Yeah, plasma sounds good. I might do that. Usually when I end early during the day, I get enough stuff done where I have a lot of time in the evening, and I end up doing a fireside. Mine? My monologuing, you call it monologue, I call it babbling almost. It's just me, it's just to fill in because when there's no content. When I first started my channel before I had guests, in order to just have something to keep the channel going at all. I guess I got really good at turning the channel on and just turning the camera on and just talking. And so like my first few weeks, maybe even Dolbez was my very first guest. The first few weeks I streamed, I it was just me talking, like trying to think of something to talk about just to keep a stream going. So, well, good. I'm glad that there's some value in it. After the holidays are over, I'm going to start kind of continuing along the lines from the PF Young video that we looked at. I'm going to try to start breaking down some of Northrop Frye's thinking on myths, stories, archetypes, particularly the stories that keep our society like I want it to be very practical. I want us to be able to look at the stories we currently tell ourselves about each other, about our own selves, and the different narratives and stories that are kind of like holding the different groups of society together. And maybe one of the big quests, and it's kind of always a quest. I don't think you ever arrive at the one story, but the American myth, like a story that can unify this very diverse sense that we have of the American experience. Because it's hard, America's so broad and so multicultural and so diverse, it's hard to unify all of that into a single story. There's been attempts like Walt Whitman, Moby Dick, Tom Sawyer, that kind of stuff. But no one myth, like Jordan Peterson talked about how stories are partial. No one myth. America itself is such a large potential myth as it is that no one story seems to capture the American myth. So every writer and artist that tackles that problem is always on a quest for the American myth. So maybe out of this presentation that I plan to do. It's going to be more like a series. I think I'm going to give little bits of it each day, little bite sizes. Maybe some way to figure out if it's possible to find some overarching narrative that unites us and what that might be. Oh yeah, I'll definitely be free, Bex. I'm always up for watching something. So yeah, hit me up. Get your chores done. At least you're doing them. That sounds good. That sounds like a fun day. Okay, I think I will go one more minute just to make it an hour. And I appreciate the viewership. I really do. This is the core right here. And I don't know. We'll see. I'm doing a New Year's Eve stream on Tuesday. So Joe and I will be out tomorrow, usual time. Tuesday, New Year's Eve stream, and then Wednesday, another all-day holiday stream. So that. All right. Yep. Thank you, Bex. And good to see you. Plasma, Zents, Deerfire, Moose, all of you guys. Shelly, Brett, Mike, WAS. We have Stockocalypse, who may be new or it may be a sock. Kitty Bonks, all of you people. I love you guys. Chuck, Steve. We had Joe Cool drop up here earlier. Oh, wait. All right, I'm not going to end just yet. I can't close out on this guy.
Look, I had to just get the fuck up here so I can get that tag, okay? I
What
just had to get that.
tag?
I don't know. You always, every time I'm on panel, you tag me afterwards. So I just want to make sure I continue to speak the
Oh,
tag.
so that you could say you were here. All right,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was here. I was here at the end. Anyways, that's all, folks.
Okay. Hey, next time you come up, I want to talk to you about lobsters.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well, hey, I watched your video today. It looked very cold.
Oh, it was. It was.
You're
It
a,
was.
you're a good man, Leggy.
But anyways, peace out, Jeff. Have a good evening, and everybody,
You,
uh,
you
have a
too.
good holiday. Be safe and responsible this weekend. Whoop, whoop.
Right, and next week too. I want all of you here in the new year. So don't be a dumbass.
No. Actually, I was trying to get up here because there was a fucking deer stand, a big old fucking buck standing in the middle of the road, and it doesn't happen unless it's on film. And I was trying to, but he wound up fucking taking off before I had a chance to come on stage, motherfucker.
Oh, who are you trolling today, by the way?
Oh, this is my Birdo troll.
Oh,
My
I
Birdo
figured.
troll.
That's who I was
My
gonna
Birdo
guess.
troll. This is Luigi. This is Luigi banishing Birdo.
Stop. Oh my God, that has such a double meaning nowadays.
Well, take it as you will. This is Luigi Mario. So,
Yeah,
not Luigi Manigelli or whatever
not
his
the
name
other
is.
Luigi M.
Yeah, not Macaroni Boy.
Okay.
Not the real Joe Cool. Yeah, yeah. I didn't even know that's a real person, Joe Cool. You had a guy up here named Joe Cool.
You don't know
Really?
Joe Cool?
No,
Oh,
I don't know
he's
who
a.
Joe Cool is.
I don't know if yeah, he was up here earlier. I don't know if people know this about Joe Cool, but he is one of the biggest celebrities on the Panelverse. His channel has like I don't know over 10,000
That's what's up. That's what's up.
watchers. It's a
Yeah.
huge channel. He's very well known.
Hey, that's what's up. Hey, if he's well known,
141 subscribers. Joe Cool is big time. So he comes and he hangs out like he's one of us, but he's really a big time channel.
no, that's cool shit. That's cool shit.
Yeah,
I,
he's
know,
a
I just
cop
didn't know.
watcher.
I didn't know him, and I didn't know there was a guy named Joe Cool on YouTube. So there we go. I mean, I just could imagine, but hey, it
Well,
is
y'all
what it
have
is.
to next time y'all have to get together and hang out. He's definitely worth meeting.
Well,
Hey,
yeah.
Ricardo,
Ricardo.
we're wrapping up, and I might go to Discord and watch a movie, maybe The Waking Life.
What the fuck is Awaken Life?
It's a philosophy cartoon.
Oh,
I was talking about dreams yesterday. It reminded me of that movie about
oh.
how when you're dreaming,
Dream,
you're
dream,
kind
dream.
of not really making choices or using agency. And people that
So,
don't believe in free will, dreams kind of work that way.
so, on Hair Nation, which is an XM station, right? Station 38. Uh, I think it's 38, maybe 39. Anyways, Hair Nation. Uh, they have a little segment called "Things You Know Today That You Didn't Yesterday," right? And one thing was dreams, right? 90%. If you have a dream about somebody, right, and somebody's in your dream, and you interact with them and all that, 90% of the time, that same person's having a dream about you. This is what it said on Things You Didn't Know yesterday.
How do they know?
But
There's no way to
that was
measure.
my question. That was my same exact question. How do they know though? Like, you would have to take, like, that's a very good question. But that was something they said on on it, and I just kind of was curious if anybody's ever heard that.
You know what? I'm
Talk
going to
about
start testing it. Every time I dream about somebody in the panelverse, I'm going to ask them if they dreamed about me that day. And we can start trying to find a way to test this.
And I was just like, that was what I was saying. How do you know? Though? How do you know?
Right.
Fact check this, Jeff. Search it in Google and see what Google says. While we're right here on the topic, I want to see if that was a true fact. Because I want to know. Because if that's true, that means I can believe a lot of shit they say. Because there's some shit they say on there. I go, no fucking way. That ain't fucking right.
Let me see. I'm trying to think how to even ask the question. Do
How
people dream?
often? How often do people dream about one another?
Dreaming about each other on the same night. Shared dream. They're talking about shared dreams, though, like two people having the same dream. And I want to know more about. Okay, how did you say it? How often do people dream about each other on the
Yeah,
same night?
yeah.
Dreaming about each other on the same night. Here's what it means. No, they're still talking about shared dreams. Which even that's weird, like two people having the same dream.
But is it a shared dream where like they're in each other's dream, like they're sharing the dream, but it's like you're connecting through a mind type deal?
Do
Is that what
soulmates
they're?
dream about each other? Here's one. The most frequent answer is yes. However, since we're all connected, this seems woo. They're not really giving a lot of facts. They're just making claims about soulmates. How I don't know.
I don't know. Apparently, some study, some university did a study. I guess I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just it's what I heard, and I wanted to see if it was true or not.
It was on a radio show.
Yeah, it was on Hair Nation.
Oh, what's Hair Nation?
It's an XM uh station. It's all like 80s rock, like Guns N'
Oh, hair like
Roses.
like hair metal. Okay.
Yeah, like that type shit.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Yep, yep.
Oh yeah, twin flames. I've heard about that. I met my twin flame. I think it was a horrible experience. I think we both burnt each other up. Some flames shouldn't come into contact with each other.
Yeah, yeah. Some flames are out of oil, and some flames are out of gasoline. And oil and gasoline don't mix really well. So there you go.
True.
Anyways, what do you got going on? Anything? Why such a
Nope,
short
just
stream?
did the stream and might go watch that movie. You driving around right now?
Yeah, yeah. I took my kid to. I took my youngest to my parents for the weekend. Well, for the night. My mother was
Oh,
up to
okay.
my mother was up to my aunt's house for Christmas, so we were we were at my dad's, but we went and see my dad for Christmas. But he saved some presents for when my mother got home, and my mother had some presents for my aunt and shit. So,
So y'all are still kind of doing Christmas.
well, for her, not for me. Not for me, just for the baby.
Did you get anything cool this year? What was your favorite gift?
Dude, I don't get nothing. What are you talking
You
about?
don't get anything? Like your wife or
I
your
get
parents
socks.
or don't give you
Dude,
gifts?
I get socks and money. That's what I get. But
I
I like
guess.
socks though. Like I get
Yeah,
a
I mean,
like,
socks
dude,
are useful, I guess, on the boat
dude,
and
brand
money.
new pair of socks. I tell my wife all the time, do not wash my brand new pair of socks till I wear them. Do
You
not
just
do it.
got one pair?
Well, no, I mean I got more
Oh,
than one pair. I'm just saying,
okay.
like, don't wash my socks if they're new until I wash them. Because there's nothing like a pair of fucking brand new socks on the feet, man.
Wait, do you mean that the brand new socks before you even wear them, she would wash them?
Yeah, yeah. My wife has
What?
this thing
No,
about
who washes new clothes?
my wife.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
That's weird. No, I wouldn't
Except
wash.
like
No.
sweatshirts. Like sweatshirts, she don't. But yeah, because
So
she
she'll
goes.
like
Well,
come
she's like,
home
you
with a
don't know who
bag of
tried it
clothes
on.
that.
Well, she's like, you don't know who tried them on before you. She goes, I
Oh
don't
my
want to buy.
God.
She goes, I don't want to buy a pair of pants that some nasty bitch tried on or something like that. She goes, catch crabs or something like that.
I can hear her saying that too. But like people don't try on socks, so those should be safe.
Well, no, but she's
Yeah, I
still
agree.
weird.
Yeah, don't tell her don't wash your socks.
Yeah, she knows better. She knows better. We've been together long enough.
Well, I'm glad you got socks. I feel like as much as you gave this year, you should have gotten a little
Hell, I don't give a
something
fuck.
more in
My
return.
kids, look, my kids made out. That's all that matters to me.
Did
My
they?
kids.
Did your kids give you anything? Like, did they? I
I
don't know.
mean,
Draw
yeah.
you a
I mean, I got shit
picture?
for my kids, but like, well, my one daughter got me a fucking painting. My other one got me a fucking like gift card Subway, and
That sounds good.
my youngest daughter, she made. Well, it was a picture in a frame and shit from the daycare
Oh,
that they made.
okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
you got.
Yeah, I mean, I got the dad gifts, but as far as cool gifts, I didn't get nothing. I didn't get nothing. But I don't expect nothing either. I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. As I say, give me a fucking shit I can use. Socks, fucking clothes. I mean, I haven't got my shit from my wife's dad yet. He always gets me like a car hat, like a good thick car hat jacket or sweatshirt. He always
Oh
gets me
yeah.
snap. He gets me some snap-on socks, paw. So
What's a snap-on sock?
they're Snap-on brand. Like they're socks from Snap-on.
Oh, it's a brand.
Yeah,
It's
like
not socks
Snap-on
with
tools.
snaps on. Oh, I'm
No,
looking at them
like
now.
Snap-on
Okay,
tools. Yeah,
I see.
Snap.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck! Out
Carhartt's
in
a
that
good
being out in that
brand.
cold today, I've got kind of stuffed up. Fuck.
I know. I couldn't believe you were on that boat. That was this morning.
Yeah, and then we got fucking 5 trawls in and fucking busted a power steering line. That was fucking awesome.
Oh,
Fucking love having to come back in for that bullshit.
so that ended the day.
Oh yeah. You know, you just get on a roll, you get warmed up, loosened up from a fucking couple week layoff, and it's fucking like, holy fuck.
Friday, freeze your ass off while hauling day.
Yeah. Yeah, that was. Well, actually, I had it Thursday at first, and then Samsonite pointed out that it was definitely Friday, not Thursday. So,
Oh, I love the horizon though. That sunrise.
show it. I don't give a fuck. Share it. I don't care.
It's an hour long.
Well, don't share the whole thing, but you can share the
Here,
fucking
I'll
sunrise.
show a little clip. You can watch. They can watch the sunrise. Do you do it without sound?
Yeah, yeah. Because, I mean, you got a bunch of guys on the boat and shit. So, you know, we
Oh
shit
right.
talk. We shit talk. We talk about things. So it happens.
I have an idea.
So, you know. So,
Wow,
uh,
look at this.
I went back and watched a couple other ones. I'm glad nobody from down here watches them. Because holy fuck. Uh, one of them wasn't too nice about some of the things we were saying about somebody.
Oh,
But it is
somebody they
what it
know?
is.
Somebody.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Then,
Look
of
at that.
course, that's over the fucking. You can barely see over the fucking snow and ice and shit. But yeah, yeah. That's heading. That's heading like east.
That's the Atlantic. You're actually on the Atlantic.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is this. I love this is
Well,
gorgeous.
are you at the beginning of the video?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's still. We're just sailing out through the reach there. We're not even. We haven't even left the bay yet.
Oh,
At this point,
here, let me bump it up a bit.
I baited some pockets at some point in here.
Oh, look, the camera freezes up.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
I love this. You could set this to music. What time would you say this is?
I was probably 6:15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If I had to guess, it was about 6:15, 6:30.
There's the ocean.
Oh yeah, yeah. Fun times, fun times. I guess I might as well stop and see my wife at work.
Oh,
So I I was I was telling my captain and the other stewardman, I was telling him about how I was called a liar, about how kids start out young on like, out young on the boat and shit. And as I was telling him, he goes, "It's funny." He goes, "I got pictures." He goes, "Of me when I was a baby." He goes, "I got pictures of my boy." He goes, "When he was a kid, baby." He goes, "Just barely big enough to stand up and fucking bait pockets." He goes, "People just don't know what the fuck they're talking about." I go, "Yep, that's what I say."
is that the bait bucket?
Yeah, that's a bait bucket. Yeah.
Uh,
I think at some point I make the screen go black because I take a poop.
oh, wait, what? Don't go into too much detail, but you talking about like right there on the boat, or do
Yeah.
y'all have
I
restrooms?
No, on the boat.
Is it
Like, probably that bucket right there. Matter of
you,
fact, I probably
Leggy?
use that
Don't
bucket.
tell me stuff like that. Are you serious? You use it as bait? You add it to the bait?
No, no. That's an empty bucket.
Oh, okay. I thought it had bait in it.
No.
So y'all have to go on a bucket?
Yeah.
What a life. And you had to like take all your overalls off and everything. Okay, scratch that. I
No,
don't
you
want
don't
to.
think. I
I'm not
mean, just think
that
about
kind of
how if you had
journalist.
fucking. Just think about if you had fucking overalls on, how you would take a poop or a
I don't.
snowsuit
I
or
don't.
something.
I'm.
Same
I'm
idea.
nosy, but I'm not that nosy.
Same idea.
This is nice though. This scenery. So this is coming back in.
No, that was us going out.
Oh, y'all still going out? Well, hang on. It locked up.
Oh yeah, right here, me beating pocket. Hold on, you're missing what I put in them. I showed what I put in them.
Oh, it's hard to see.
Hold on, Hold on, I put at the beginning. If you go back to when I start doing the pocket, I show what I put there. Hold on, it is.
Hey, here I am. So, yeah, we used to have an outhouse at our camp, and they would compost, but I don't associate a white plastic bucket with as a composting toilet. That's bait.
Yeah,
That's a lot of. That's giant fish. Lobsters can eat fish that big.
I mean, yeah,
They like pick off little pieces with their claws.
yeah. Mm. Yeah, I think it stopped and it kicked me out, so I just said, fuck it, I wasn't gonna fuck with the service. In and out.
You have a
So I
pretty
just
good
ended.
signal considering how far out you are. Signing off. This must be the fuck it part.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well then.
Is it like here I am? Is it in like an outhouse? Like they have a seat, and then they have the bucket under the
Alright.
seat, and then they can just take the bucket and compost it.
Alright, I'm signing off, y'all. I
Okay,
gotta
yeah,
go.
that's probably a good time to do it.
Okay.
Good to see you, Leggy. We'll see you again. Have a good weekend,
Alright, see it.
and badass video.
Alright. Peace out.
Peace out. Okay, well, I always learn something just about every day, so that was a lot of learning. Um, I'm gonna go consider that movie now. So, yep, same plan. Maybe we'll be out. Joe and I will be out tomorrow, um, and then New Year's Eve stream and all that. So have a good rest of your Friday. Hope you find something fun to do, and I'll see you next time. Talcott is streaming, I believe. Take care, guys, and girls, and everybody else, all the genders. We love everybody here. If you're not blocked, we love you. We block the ones we don't.